This is a story about debts, an ancient word, usury. For centuries, usury was defined as any interest charged for a loan. Any interest, whether 1% or 100%, was considered usurious. But modern usage has redefined the term. Now usury means excessive interest, as in Shylock's pound of flesh. Certainly, any amount of interest charged for a pretended loan is excessive. So the dictionary needs a new definition. Here's one. Usury, the charging of any interest on a loan of fiat money. Let us therefore look at debt and interest in that light. Thomas Edison summed up the immorality of the system when he said, "People who will not turn a shovel full of dirt on the project, nor contribute a pound of material, will collect more money than will the people, who will supply all the materials and do all the work." Is that an exaggeration? Consider the purchase of a $100,000 home. In this example, $30,000 represents the cost of the land, architect's fee, sales commissions, building permits, and that sort of thing. The remaining $70,000 is the cost of labor and building materials. If the home buyer puts up $30,000 as a down payment, then $70,000 must be borrowed. If the loan is issued at 11% over a 30-year period, the amount of interest paid will be $167,806. That means the amount paid to those who loaned the money is about 2.5 times greater than the amount paid to those who build the house. As we have already shown, every dollar that exists today, either in the form of currency checkbook money or even credit card money, in other words, our entire money supply exists only because it was borrowed into existence by someone. That means all the American dollars in the entire world are earning daily and compounded interest for the banks which created them. A portion of every business venture, every investment, every profit, every transaction which involves money, and that even includes losses and the payment of taxes, a portion of all that is earmarked as payment to a bank. And what did the banks do to earn this perpetually flowing river of wealth? Did they lend out their own capital obtained through the investment of stockholders? Did they lend out the hard-earned savings of their depositors? No, neither of these were their major source of income. They simply waved the magic wand called fiat money. How is it that the banks are able to get away with this gigantic swindle? The answer is fractional reserve banking. Under this system, a commercial bank can lend out 90% of its deposits. Assume a simple case of a $100 bill deposited in a bank. The bank can then lend $90 of it out and keep $10 as its reserve. Now suppose a depositor writes a check for $50 to someone who deposits it in a bank. That bank can then lend out $45 of it and set aside $5 as its reserve, and so it goes. The net result is that $90 of new money is created through the banking system, based on the original $100 bill. In our example, the borrower will pay $10 of interest to the bank for the privilege of borrowing the $90. Now, in our example, the borrower doesn't have to come up with any additional value. He merely incurs a debt for which he will pay $10 interest. That means for $10 worth of debt, the banks receive $10 in interest. In reality, the banks receive $10 in interest for creating $100 worth of debt. Interest on debt is really interest on money which has been created through the debt. Therefore, the real rate of interest is the percentage of the total money supply represented by all outstanding debts. Thus, if the total debts in the economy are $10 trillion and the total money supply is $100 trillion, the real rate of interest is 10%. And here's the rub. All of this debt money is earning interest for the banks, which are the creators of the debt money, while the real wealth generators receive nothing for their efforts. They merely get the privilege of paying interest on the debt money which they have created. This is the greatest swindle in human history. This is the high finance, and those who perpetrate it live high off the land, while those who earn the wealth of the nation get the short end of the stick. We intend to show you how to pull the stick to your end of the table, and in our next installment, we will begin to tell you how this great swindle can be unwound.